Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and football fans alike. Welcome once again to historic Roosevelt Stadium here in Norristown, Pennsylvania, for another high school football encounter. This evening, the Eagles of Norristown will entertain the Warriors of Methacton. Last week, Coach Roger Grove, in their win over Souderton, won his 200th career game, and he's going tonight against matching wits against, you talk about a veteran coach George Marinka from Methacton. It's in his 41st season. Tonight's game presents a very interesting matchup. Norristown with a 2-0 record, 1-0 in their division play against Methacton, 1-1 overall, losing last week a division contest to Power Upper Merion. The common opponent that both teams confronted earlier in the season was Souderton, and both won by comparable margins. Joe, this promises to be a great game. What do you know about the Warriors?
Well, I had a very nice conversation this afternoon with Coach Marenko of the Methacton club. Coach told me that they are led by their quarterback, free safety Hanrahan, and Tim Hobbs anchors both the offensive and the defensive line. As Tom pointed out, they are 1-1. They did beat and surprised powerful Souderton. However, they had a very disappointing outing against very powerful Upper Merion. Coach Marenkoff tells me that, in his opinion, the key to the game will be to keep the very powerful, very explosive Norristown offense off the field. He intends to do that by emphasizing his own ground game, bleeding the clock, and basically keeping the speed burners of the Eagles on the sidelines. And it is a beautiful night here at Roosevelt Field for high school football. It's cool. It's a soft September evening, and I look forward to a very, very good matchup between two teams. I think Norristown's athleticism and speed might be the difference here, but Methacton has a bunch of very gritty, very determined young men, and they are coached by a local football legend in George Marenko, now in his 41st year. So we'll be back. Let me turn the microphone back over to Coach McGee, and we'll see you soon.
Okay, Joe, just a little bit talking to the Norristown coaches before the game. They're going to show a little bit different look on defense tonight. They showed a 5-man front for the balance of the season up to this point, 2 games into the season. Coach Griffith, defense coordinator, indicated to me tonight they intend to play at least 70 to 80% with 4 down linemen and do a lot of stunning. Methacton runs a spread offense. They feel as though they can match up man-to-man on the outside receivers, and then bring as many as 8 people to the ball on blitz situations. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what develops, and we'll be back with the opening kickoff right after this. Welcome back to Roosevelt Field. And Joe, we have a beautiful night for football as the captains approach midfield for the toss of the coin.
Yes, we do. A beautiful night for football at, as you called it, historic Roosevelt Field. A classic neighborhood battle between the Methacton Warriors and the Norristown Eagles. The respective captains are at the center of the field. They're going to do the coin toss.
And Joe, do you want to identify the Methacton Warriors captains for this evening?
I believe it's number 57, Tim Hobbs. He has changed his number from what I understand. Tim Hobbs is number 57, and I believe number 12, John Hanrahan, the quarterback, and I cannot see the other 2 young men. Norristown, of course, has
Joe Kika. Well, I'm going to get this right. Number 50, Joe Kikanui. Number 5, captain, would be Dave Watson. Number 3, Sammy Johnson, and the honorary captain for Norristown this evening is number 20, cornerback Bob Shadle.
It looks like Methacton won the toss and has elected to receive.
Joe, that is the first coin toss that Norristown has lost in this being their 3rd game. So they're going to start on defense, and as I mentioned in our pregame show, Coach Jack Griffith said they're going to show a new wrinkle with a 4-man front. And they think they can go with that in order to defend the spread offense by Methacton.
With regard to the Methacton defense, and speaking with Coach Marenko this afternoon, he informed me that Methacton will go with the classic 4-4-3 defensive set, 4 down linemen, 4 linebackers, and of course the defensive secondary.
Now, Joe, one of the sore points, unfortunately for Norristown in the first 2 games, has to be their kicking game. Not so much maybe for kickoffs and punting, but their point after conversions. They have transfer student who is their kicker, but now number 41 is listed as Brad Harrell. I don't know if that is a mistake in the program guide, if there's been a switch in the number. I thought their place kicker was Giacomo Stabile, but we'll get that clarified for you. But in the program it says number 41, and he's listed as Brad Harrell, a 5'8" and 160-pound senior.
All right, deep for the Warriors is number 22 Marvin Phoenix and number 24 Kevin Fogel. And we're ready to go, Tom.
Not a very deep punt. Looks like it may be headed out of bounds. It is. So Methacton will start at the 35-yard line. Be an automatic 1st and 10. And Joe, as you mentioned, Coach Marankov is concerned, and their strategy tonight is field position. They're getting the ball at a pretty good spot right now to start their first offensive series.
Yeah, Coach told me that he intends to keep the ball on the ground as much as possible to bleed the clock in order to keep Norristown scatbacks on the sidelines. Because, as he said, if the Norristown backs get through their first line of defense, Methacton's in some trouble.
Okay, let's see if Norristown shows that 5-man or that 4-man front. Joe, what do you think? Is that a 4-man front? Believe it is.
That is a 4-man front.
4-man front. Hanrahan over the ball. Single back. Wide out split right. Single split left. There's a quick up and out. Incomplete. Overthrown. Difficult to tell the numbers from way across the field, but well defended on the play, and single coverage, Joe, as Norristown's game plan is going to call for.
Just as it's strange the way these things happen. The coach told me they're going to keep the ball on the ground, and the first play they throw a quick out. Maybe he thought I was a spy.
He's not coaching for 41 years to give away his game plan to you, Joe.
The Silver Fox.
Right. There's no perjury on the football field by coach speak. Again, Hanrahan, roll out right, being chased by number 4, Pettigrew. Hanrahan cuts up nicely, picks up about 6 yards on the play. Right across the 40 to the 41. Really stuck hard, Joe.
Yeah, on the stop there was the linebacker, Danny Lester, who this week was voted the Norristown Times-Herald Defensive Player of the Week for a stellar game last week against Souderton, 7 tackles and 2 interceptions. Danny Lester, number 40.
This is critical, Joe. The first big play offensively and defensively for both clubs. 3rd and 4. Methacton gets a first down here. They'll be close to midfield and in good position for that ball control offense. Again, same setup. Flankers wide left, single back. Hanrahan over the ball, direct handoff. Fake the handoff, Hanrahan on the keeper, and he's got the first. Crosses the 45 to about the 47-yard line, Joe. Can you identify that? Is that Marvin Phoenix in the backfield from Methacton? Who's that single back, Joe?
That's Marvin Phoenix, number 22. He goes both ways. He is a tailback, and he's also one of the cornerbacks. Very, very quick, very fast young man. Excellent football player.
Hanrahan's impressed me so far, Joe. He's certainly the key to their offense, and their offense last week against Upper Merion was bogged down. They showed very little offensively. They're off to a good start. Hanrahan over the ball. Quick pitch to Phoenix around the left side. Norristown speed's going to catch up. Maybe a gain of a half a yard to 1.
Danny Lester again on the tackle. Ranging far to his right to stop that running play after a gain of about at most 2 yards.
Joe, we'd be remiss not to mention the fact that Danny Lester is the son of one of our former classmates at Bishop Kenrick High School, Ed Lester and Mary Jo Lester. And, of course, Ed, in his own right, was an excellent football lineman at Bishop Kenrick.
So he told me, Tom, so he told me.
Yeah, he reminds us quite frequently. All right, Here we go. Second and call at 9. Hanrahan
Here he goes.
fakes the handoff, is running right, has some running room, and there's nobody containing on that play, and he picks up about 8 yards. Going to bring up a 3rd and 1, Joe, and the ball inside the 45-yard line.
It seems that the Methacton offense revolves almost exclusively around the quarterback. He runs, he throws, and he also plays defense. He's the free safety on defense.
Well, obviously, that's been the most successful play in this drive, the quarterback keeper off the play action. And what he's basically doing, Joe, perhaps is setting up a play action rollout pass or a quick hitter to the fullback.
Yep.
3rd and 1. Ball at the Norristown 45-yard line. There's the handoff to the up back, and it's going to be close.
Penalty flag on the play.
That could be a hold the way the normally you see that. One of the backs.
Preliminary indication is a hold on Methacton.
That's going to bring a 10-yard penalty and put Methacton into a 3rd and long situation, something Coach Marenkov, Joe, did not relish being in this evening.
That's exactly right.
Okay, it is a holding penalty. It's going to be brought back to the 44-yard line. 3rd down and 12, the way the chains are spotted.
Big play for the Eagles defense here.
I think you're going to see a blitz situation here, or a stunt, as the football people like to refer to it as. Hanrahan, straight drop, now semi-rollout. Picks up pretty good yardage. He's still not down. What a great play.
Excellent run.
Norristown, poor tackling on that, Joe.
6 or 7 Norristown defensive players had a shot at the young man, and they missed him, and he picked up the 1st down.
He shows sneaky speed, deceptive speed, but he has good footwork, and he cuts back very well, and he looks to run the daylight. Very impressive 3rd down and long play from Methacton.
That was a big time play, Tom.
And other than the penalty, Joe, Methacton's doing what they want offensively. 3, 4, 5 yards at a chunk. That time, 12 yards. All right, 1st and 10. Ball at the Norristown 42-yard line. Hanrahan split back. Flanker. There's the counter to number 13, Joe. Brought down by number 56 from the Eagles, and that's Jason Boykins.
13 is Michael Cope.
Okay, he lined up in the flank facing almost like an old Delaware wing T type of situation.
First thing I thought of, Tom.
Okay, 2nd and 8. If I'm not mistaken, Joe, unless my eyes are deceiving me, did the Hanrahan leave the field? Oh, no, he's in there.
Still there.
I guess he just went out over to get the play from Coach Marenkov. Same formation, spread formation. It's been all Hanrahan so far. Looks like off sides, the right wide out seemed to jump the gun, Joe, on the far side of the field.
I think you're right. The Warriors cannot afford to shoot themselves in the foot like that. I mean, they're sustaining a fairly methodical drive here, and this sort of unhitches the wagon. Penalties like this will make Coach Marenkov even grayer than he is.
That's going to be tough to achieve, Joe, to get any grayer than he is at this point.
Quite a guy.
Double split, very classy man, very classy. Hanrahan over the ball. A little stop pattern. Ball caught, and I ruled him down. Receiver got up, and his knee must have hit the ground.
I think you're right, Tom.
Officials were right there on the play. Nice little stop, and we used to call that play the button hook, didn't we, Joe?
That's correct. That was Dougie Mazzocco.
6 yards and just turn. Haven't heard that term on TV for years, though, the button hook, Joe.
About 35 to be exact.
I guess.
Speaking of the old-timers, this week saw the passing of an NFL legend in number 19 for the Baltimore Colts, Johnny Unitas.
Fond memories of Johnny U. Straight handoff to the up back. Looks like number 11.
That's 22. That's
22.
Marvin Phoenix. They've taken over 6 minutes off the clock. Norristown has yet to touch the ball.
Methacton is doing exactly what their game plan intended them to do. Ball control, field position. Another big play here, Joe.
4th and 3.
4th and 3. It's 4-down territory when you're down by the 35. Hanrahan on the rollout, a jump pass, nearly intercepted, goes incomplete. Good job by the Eagle defense to hold. They're going to take over 1st and 10 at their own 35.
A jump pass. We haven't seen that in 35 years.
Well, you had that big...
Who is that, Sammy Ball out there?
Well, you had that big Jamal Blackwell at 6'2" coming in with his arms extended. All right, talking to Norristown coaching staff, they hope to mix it up, not go so much run, run, run. They want to mix the passing game in early, and they're going to look for their outstanding wide receiver, Witter, who caught 2 touchdown passes for Anthony Carmona. Carmona backs in the eye. Here comes the pitch to number 3. And that is exactly why Methacton, Joe, wants to maintain ball possession and ball control.
That's a touchdown saving tackle
Sammy
by
Johnson.
John Hanrahan.
Speed kills, doesn't it, Joe?
Absolutely, in any sport anymore.
A 29-yard scamper by Sammy Johnson. 1st and 10 Norristown on the Methacton 36. Backs again in the eye, double flank right. Carmona over the ball. Handoff again to the fullback, that's Johnson. Fights his way to the 31-yard line. Pickup of about 5, he runs hard and low to the ground, Joe.
Tackle was made by Marvin Phoenix, another two-way player for the Warriors.
Joe, although this game is being televised for the late telecast later in the week by the Norristown Area School District Television Crew Network, I should say, many Methacton people live right on the outskirts of Norristown, and they will be able to pick up the reception of this game when telecast.
That's my understanding.
Backs in the eye again. 2nd and 5. Watson in motion. Handoff again. Johnson again with the ball. There looks like a hold. Looks like a hold on 75 for Norristown.
Number 8 crashing through there was Brian Warwick, defensive back, only a sophomore.
And Joe, I think we should mention the very talented crew under Sam up here, and that's Amanda Nelson and Chelsea Decker. And while I'm mentioning that, trainer Dennis Flynn is given a lot of accolades for the fine work he does to keep the players healthy and back to action after injury as soon as possible. And his training staff are student trainers Megan Burrell, Devin Gallagher, and Christina Moore. Again, many times these people behind the scenes are overlooked. We here at NASD TV recognize their efforts and their talents, and that penalty was against Methacton. Joe, did you get the official signal?
No, I did not.
I believe that might have been a face mask violation. And it was a 15-yarder, which I believe is a 15-yard.
Intentionally grabbing the
Well,
mask.
I think in high school, all face mask penalties.
Is that right? Okay.
I believe so. We'll ask Skeet Miller, expert football commentator up here.
Face mask. It was a face mask, Tom.
Norristown 1st and 10 at the 16. Carmona once again. Sammy Johnson. And he's still piling down close to the 10. Joe, they're
Warwick and Mike Cope on the stop.
Sam Johnson seems to be the workhorse tonight.
Yep. The officiating crew this evening is Nick Ramo, the referee. Will Gillespie is the linesman. Russ Dewson is the umpire. Dan McKeever is the line judge. And Joe Kelly is doing the duties as the back judge.
All right, 2nd and 6. I formation. Pitch again to Johnson. He cuts it up inside the tackle. And he's going to be close to a first down, I believe, Joe.
If he's not there, he's very, very close to it. Timmy Hobbs on the stop for Methacton.
It's going to be a little bit short. It's going to call it 3rd and 2. And another critical play because Norristown's kicking game has not been effective, Joe. Their place kicking game has not been effective.
They're in 4-down territory. And their place kicking woes can be traced back to last year. They lost at least one game that I can recall on the basis of a missed PAT. Can't do that.
Johnson again. And Methacton, I think, Joe, it's going to be, well, it's going to be close.
Yeah.
I think he got it. I thought he crossed the plane at the 5-yard line. However, the down marker is going to indicate short, and we have an Eagle injured on the play.
It's number 3. It's number 3.
Sammy Johnson.
Sammy Johnson.
Well, based on the first 6 or 7 running plays, it didn't take a lot of imagination by the Methacton defense to assume who might get the ball there, Joe.
That's right. Seems the Eagles are using A.J. Pettigrew as a decoy. Pettigrew comes into the game with having gained 181 yards over 2 games on 21 carries.
But Joe, 173 of those were in the first game.
That's true.
Last week, I think Pettigrew ran maybe twice, 3 times at the most, and don't know why. The injured player is number 3, Sammy Johnson, who has exclusively been the Norristown offense from their own 35 to the Methacton 5. So he's gained 60 yards in the number of carries he's had.
Yes.
And let's hope that Coach Flynn and those excellent student trainers can nurse him back to returning to the lineup.
It looks from here like they're working on his right leg. They're flexing it. Naturally, we don't want to speculate as to the extent of the injury, if any. But he's getting up.
Joe, I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm hoping I'm right, if it's cramps. Early in the season, in the warm weather, not necessarily that it's that warm tonight, but they lose a lot of body fluid. And Coach Flynn, or Mr. Flynn, explained that to me a little bit, but he's holding the leg up, and that doesn't appear to be cramps.
No.
But we'll get a report to you as soon as we get information from the bench. But it's not like Norristown doesn't have a plethora of running backs in their stables. So we'll see who replaces Sammy at the tailback spot. It could be the transfer number 1, Omar Brown, but we'll see. Omar Brown, number 1, the transfer from Coatesville. But we'll see. I can't get the number of the tailback right now. Could be Pettigrew.
4th and 1. Pettigrew's the up back.
Quarterback keeper, and he's
got
easily to the 2-yard line. Joe, did you find that number of the replacement number 2? It looks like
number 2.
Robbie Coleman.
Robbie Coleman.
Coleman, a 5'10", 180-pound junior. As you were. Yeah, that's correct. 5'10", 180-pound junior. Number 5, Dave Watson comes to the sidelines.
All right, 1st and goal from the 3, Tom.
Witter's flanked wide right. I don't think Norristown's going to put the ball up at this point. Number 2 dances into the end zone, and that's Robbie Coleman. So the tailback position, with the exception of Carmona's quarterback sneak on the previous play, accounted for 63 yards, and all but one play, Norristown's touchdown drive, which covered, Joe, covered about over 5 minutes of the clock, and we only have 1:10 remaining in the first period.
A well-played first period.
Now Norristown's going to attempt an extra point here, Joe, and Get this number for me, would you?
Yeah.
Brad Harrell, I
That's
guess he's
number
replaced
41.
number 18, Stabile.
Give credit on that touchdown to the left side of the Norristown offensive line.
They showed great push. Carmona holding. Good snap. Kick up. And good. Norristown's first point after place kick of the 2002 football season. So with 1:10 remaining in the first quarter, the score, the Eagles of Norristown 7, the Warriors of Methacton 0.
That was a nice drive by the Eagles. They consumed some time. Of course, they started out with a burst by Sammy Johnson. Got him off running. And then they pushed it in about 7 or 8 plays later. Norristown demonstrated an instinct for the jugular, Tom. They had, when they got Methacton pushed back, they capitalized on the opportunity, which is good to see.
Yes, it is. Sammy Johnson certainly came out ready to play. Now there he is being worked on right down there on the bench by trainer Dennis Flynn. He's drinking a lot of fluids. Maybe it is a cramp. Let's hope. Cramps heal quickly.
Yeah.
You get fluid in you, you get it massaged, and you go back in action. Hopefully it's not an ankle or a knee or a hamstring pull. Let's see, okay. Harrell in kick formation. Let's see if you get a
Marvin
better kick.
Phoenix and young Fogel deep for the Warriors.
A better kick that time. It's number 22. Nice run back. The 34-yard line.
Good field position again for the Warriors.
Marvin Phoenix on the return. The junior running back for the Warriors.
The Methacton squads, both on offense and defense, are dominated by underclassmen. Coach Marenko is very, very optimistic for the future of Methacton football the next 2 or 3 years. Young squad.
Same formation, single back, spread offense, hand over center. Flanker in motion, roll out this time to the left, cut back to the right, and good containment that time by the Norristown defense.
That's number 80 for the Eagles.
Number 80. That's John Jones listed on the program.
No gain on the play. Excellent defensive pursuit by the Eagles.
And Joe Norristown is still staying in that 4-man front, of course, anchored by number 19, preseason All-League, Jamal Blackwell. Started last year as a sophomore at defensive end, and he can hit. He's a mean fighting machine. And there he contains the play. Did not make the tackle, but held off 2 blockers.
Penalty flag again on the play, Tom, and it's in the area of offensive holding.
I think that was a face mask penalty against Blackwell. I think he, in holding up those two blockers that I mentioned, Joe, his hands were very high in the face area. That was not a mental mistake. It was just being overly aggressive. Your hand slipped. But in so doing, he gained the advantage, which enabled the loss of the play.
Now that was a 5-yard penalty, Tom, but it was a face mask. So
okay,
I guess there is a difference, I guess. Yeah.
Correct. It was not flagrant.
Yep. That's the term I was looking for.
Why they have 2nd or 3rd down listed? What down should this be, gentlemen? What down is it? Ski.
Showing 2nd, but it really should be 1st. As far as I think, it should be.
I really think this should be 1st and 5. As I talked to Skeet Miller, you hear in the background, he is a football official and could have occurred perhaps after the play was down. And well, anyway, it's going to be 2nd down and call it a long 4. Another rollout. Receiver open. Nice up and out there, Joe. Very nice pattern.
Yes, it was.
Receiver ran right past the sticks.
Interesting to note that Hanrahan is challenging the speedy Norristown defensive secondary. And they are 4 ball hawks back there.
And I believe, is that the end of the first period?
That is the end of the first period. Anthony Graham, an Eagle defensive back, already has 2 interceptions, as does the aforementioned Danny Lester.
Joe, will you look at the score clock and what time reads?
It's 11:54. I thought the first quarter was over. In fact, the first quarter is over. There's been some confusion on the field here.